Welcome back to ILTV on the Hour. We're live from Israel, bringing you the biggest headlines of the day. I'm Kalev Ben David, and here's the roundup of your latest developments across Israel and the region. Hamas has announced it has found the body of another Israeli hostage and that arrangements are being made to transfer it back to Israel. Hamas is claiming the remains were discovered in the Shujaiya neighborhood near Gaza City, in an area east of the so-called Yellow Line and thus under IDF control. The body has not been identified. There are still 8 hostage bodies still remaining in Gaza. The U.S. has submitted a draft resolution to the UN Security Council that would grant it and other countries taking part in an international stabilization force the authority to govern Gaza and maintain security control over it for at least 2 years. The Axios news site published a copy of the resolution, which calls for the stabilization force to be created together with a board of peace chaired by President Trump, overseeing its activities. The plan aims to begin deploying first troops of the ISF into Gaza by January 2026. Humanitarian aid would resume under the Board of Peace's oversight and in cooperation with the UN, the Red Cross and Red Crescent, with strict measures to prevent diversion by armed groups. The ISF would also begin training a Palestinian police force and utilize apolitical Palestinian technocrats in the Gaza administration. The Palestinian Authority would have no role in Gaza until it completed a process of reform acceptable to the Board of Peace. The Times of Israel cited a diplomatic source saying the U.S. hopes to have the Gaza resolution approved by the Security Council before the visit to Washington by Saudi Arabia's Prince Mohammed bin Salman that is set for November 18th. A dispute over the fate of some 200 Hamas terrorists still in the area of the Gaza Strip controlled by the IDF is highlighting challenges faced by Israel under the ceasefire agreement. The Hamas fighters are reportedly hiding in tunnels under Rafah in southern Gaza on the Israeli side of the so-called Yellow Line. According to reports in Israeli media, the Trump administration is pressuring Prime Minister Netanyahu to allow them to cross over the Yellow Line into territory still controlled by Hamas, seeing this as a step to advance into the next stages of the Gaza deal. The hardliners in Netanyahu's cabinet reacted strongly to the report. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich calling it utter madness, and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir saying all Hamas terrorists must be destroyed rather than released under ridiculous conditions. The Prime Minister's office clarified in a statement it would not allow the safe passage of the 200 unless they give up their weapons, in line with the agreement's conditions of disarming Hamas and demilitarizing the Gaza Strip. Former U.S. Vice President Dick Cheney has died at 84 from complications related to pneumonia. Cheney began his political career in his native Wyoming as a Republican congressman, rising to become Secretary of Defense and later Vice President in the administration of George W. Bush. Cheney was a strong supporter of Israel and the U.S. use of military force to protect U.S. interests. He is viewed as one of the key drivers behind the U.S. invasion of Iraq in the Second Gulf War. And in New York City, the polls are open to vote in a new mayor, and still leading in most surveys is the Democratic State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani, whose views on Israel have been the most controversial issue in the race. Mamdani has challenged the legitimacy of Israel as the Jewish state, has been a vocal supporter of BDS, the movement to boycott, divest from, and sanction Israel, and has said as mayor he would order the arrest of Prime Minister Netanyahu if he stepped foot in New York, in line with the ICC ruling charging him with war crimes. The latest polls show Mamdani still leading his closest challenger, the former Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo, who was running as an independent candidate, leading him by 5 to 10 percentage points, although some surveys have shown the race tightening this past week. Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa trails far behind in all polls, which led President Trump yesterday to announce his support for Cuomo. Trump is writing on his social platform that a vote for Curtis Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani. Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him. And that ends this update on ILTV News. Stay tuned for more developments, or of course, check out our app. You can just scan the QR code there on the screen. I'm Kalev Ben David, and thank you for joining us.